Is this thing on? Oh, man. I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to some previews, some reveals, some stuff. I want to see some stuff. That's what I want to see. I want to see stuff. I want to see stuff for 40K. Do you think we'll see that Kroot riding a thing? You know, is it a Krootox? Is it a Narlock? Is it or is it like for the Seraphon they have those raptors? So is it some sort of Kroot raptor? A craptor? A craptor. That's it. That's what they're getting. They're getting craptors. Or maybe just Kroot raptors. Anthony B. Shotgun beers. Shotgun a beer. I don't have any beer. I don't got a beer. I'd shotgun then I'd make a mess in my office. No, never mind. I wouldn't shotgun a beer. It would get everywhere. And make a mess in my office. Yeah, so anyway, on the preview side of things, yeah. Which Warhammer Underworlds warband features a pair of hunting dogs named Grotbiter and Ratspike? Wouldn't that be the Hexbanes? Wouldn't it? C? Everybody? Bueller? It's C, right? It's gotta be, yeah, it's gotta be C. I was thinking it was the cities of Sigmar duders, but no. Yeah, the Hexbane. The Hexbane. There we go. I feel good about myself now. I got that. I got it. Oh man, it's kind of late to be up talking Warhammers, isn't it? I mean, I don't know about you all, but my brownies kicked in and I'm ready for bed. I don't need to shotgun any beer. I'm ready for bed. But I'm looking forward to this. I'm curious to see all the reveals. Honestly, like with the 40K, you know, we can take our guesses. With the Age of Sigmar, we can take our guesses because they kind of teased that a little while ago. But honestly, with the Horus Heresy, what's next for Horus Heresy? Like, I know like there's still a whack ton of models to come out. Oh, I guess maybe we'll finally get the reveal of Solar Auxilia for the Legions. Yeah, that's probably what it is. We'll get to see some Solar Auxilia, the little Sentinel, and I don't know, that other crazy vehicle they got. All right, I forgot about the other question. Hold on. First season of Warcry took place in which setting? Wasn't it the Bloodwind Spoil? The first season? Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Bloodwind Spoil. Look at that. Fuck yeah. Does Kris know how to Warhammer, or does Kris know how to Warhammer? Oh man, what time are we at? Okay, so everybody who's watching this after the fact, yeah, so you can go ahead and skip ahead. Like, how long have we been streaming already? Where's that time? Anyway, 4 minutes. So skip ahead about almost 15 minutes. Dang. Yeah. If I remember, I'll try to put in a timestamp here. Just make it easy for everybody to, figure things out. Oops, didn't mean to show that. God damn! I hope nobody saw my my stuff there. You can tell it's late, right? Oh man, is there anything on that screen that would compromise my stream? No, I don't think so. Right? Yeah. No, I think I'm okay. Oh, fuck. It's too late at night to be sitting here. The Dracosan armored transport was primarily used by which faction during the Horus Heresy? Come on, kids, it's trivia night. It's trivia night. Oh shit, it was Solar Exile. I was gonna guess that. Oh man, are we gonna make it to midnight? I don't even know. I don't even know. Okay, next question. Come on, bring on the next one. Next question, come on. You got this. You got this. Come on. Yeah, everybody got their answers. Oh shit, I didn't get myself a tea. Damn it. Damn it. Come on. If you haven't already skipped ahead, I think you pretty much can skip ahead. The Space Hulk Gallowdark crashed into which planet at the end of the previous season of Kill Team? It's Beta Decima. Come on. Come on. Hydra Cordatus? Beta Decima. It's Beta Decima. Come on. Oh, come on. Do you even Warhammer? Do you? Do you even? Answers one trivia question, just thinks he's just fucking brilliant. Beta Decima, there it is. The massive Space Hulk tore apart in orbit around Beta Decima, bombarding the planet's cities and oceans with fragments of warp-tainted wreckage that have thrown the entire world into a death spiral. Yeah, that's not grim. That's not grim at all. He got him in the warp taint. Right in the old warp taint. Oh, man. Come on, where are these previews? Previews. Oh, the lovely, lovely previews. I'm going to fall asleep. Here we go. Not everyone in Warhammer, or the 41st Millennium, fights for faith or glory. Many mercenaries are found throughout the stars. Which of these groups is not currently known to sell its services in battle? I would assume Necron Destroyer cults. No? Because the Kroot will, the Blood Axes will, and Rogue Traders. Yeah, Rogue Traders will. So yeah, I'm going to say the Necron Destroyer cults. B, final answer. No, I don't want to phone a friend. No, I don't want to, you know, the other thing. What was the other thing? It was phone a friend. Shit, I don't even remember what the hell were they all. What were the lifelines? What were the lifelines? What were the lifelines? While Kroot, Eldari, humans, kin, and even more cunning orcs are liable to be found working for the highest bidder, the destroyer cults of the Necrons value only the extermination of all organic life. Not ideal employees. Not that anybody had to be told that before, but, you know, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Okay, next question, please. 4 minutes. 4 minutes. T-minus 4 minutes. The daughters of Khaine count a variety of warped elves in their ranks, known as the Scaithborn, I think. What arcane artifact did Morathi use to reshape these creatures into their new forms? What arcane artifact? It was the... shit. The Mathkur? No. to go with the Math Core. Math Core? This is a guess, by the way. I want to say it's Widowmaker, but I don't think so. Nope, it's Mother Cult. There we go. To reform the elven soul she claimed from Slanesh, and to siphon power from many cauldrons of blood tended by her followers. Okay, there we go. It was a good guess. Do I even Warhammer? Do I? Been a little bit. I think I've only had one game of 10th edition, 40k. Oh, so many games, so little time. Fire Drake, Kris, like you're leaking air. The Twin-Tailed Crusade took place primarily across which two of the mortal realms? Haitinger? Gurn-Akshi? Actually, is it Gurn-Akshi? Or is it Haitinger? No, it's Gurn-Akshi, right? B. Final answer. I said final answer. Fire Drake, what's good? You know, I'm good right now. I'm sitting over here marinating. I've already had my nightly edible. Oh, actually, in Joanna. I fucked that up. See, you know. Oh, now you answer. See. I thought it was dirt. Oh, the Twin-Tailed Crusade. Okay. Anyway. Waiting for these damn previews to start, man. Try not to fall asleep. Oh, starting soon. Here we go. We're doing this. I think we're doing this. This freaking music is putting me to sleep. I just kind of... Ghost of Starman, let the poop flinging commence. I just fix my hat here and maybe I'll put them right over. Here we go. There. I fucked that up. There we go. But now I can't see the previews. Oh, I'm gonna fuck up my glasses, aren't I? No, we're good. Fire Drake. We had a snowstorm this week. Water outage Tuesday till Wednesday evening. Oof. Fire Drake. Is poop flinging allowed? The flingings of poop? Sure, why not? Right? Why not? I mean, you know. I mean, whatever your kink is, right? Yeah, you know, Kris is not into kink shaming, right? So, oh fuck! Come on, let's go. Oh, here we go.
Hello and welcome to this Warhammer preview online. My name's Lewis. I'm joined by the wonderful Eddie. And it is the Las Vegas Open 2024, otherwise known as LVO. Always a very exciting time for us, I think, at Warhammer. One of the independent Warhammer events in the calendar, always a super exciting time. As always, we've got some fantastic releases to show you, but before we get into that, Eddie, tell us a little bit about LVO, what's been going on at LVO.
Yeah, so LVO, the Las Vegas Open, is one of the largest independent Warhammer events in the world. We think it's great that big independent Warhammer events happen all around the place, and we try and kind of support them where we can. And one of the ways that we do that is some of the larger ones, we take the opportunity to show you some cool stuff. And obviously we are here right at the start of the new year, and it means that we've got lots of very exciting Warhammer things to show you that are coming up in the next few months. So we have things across multiple game systems, Warhammer 40,000, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and the Horus Heresy, along with some of our skirmish games as well. So we've got some really cool stuff to show you. We are coming to you live from Nottingham.
Indeed.
The guys who are at the Las Vegas Open at the moment are lucky enough to have just sat through a preview and seen some of the stuff that you guys are about to see. They saw it about an hour ago, and now the rest of the world, you guys who are tuning in, get to watch it as well, and should be good. We've got some really good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of which, rest of the world, where are you guys joining us from, as is tradition?
Yeah,
we always have to ask. And also, what time is it as well? Because it's 5 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, we know what time it is.
We know what time it is here. Yeah. I was slightly unsure. 5 a.m. here. So what time is it where you guys are joining us from?
It is very early and very cold here in the UK.
Yeah, it's a bit frosty here in the UK.
If you are tuning in from somewhere in the UK, in Europe, and you've rolled yourself out of bed in the small hours of the morning to join us, thank you ever so much for joining us. We very much appreciate it. If you're watching from somewhere else in the world, then let us know as well.
So what have we got? Verona, Italy, Australia, Brazil, Japan, 11 p.m, Alabama, Austin, Texas, Argentina. All over the world. Thousands of you as well.
Yeah, so one of the cool things about doing these previews is that we do get to kind of have a moment and kind of share some cool Warhammer stuff with all the Warhammer community around the whole world, and it's great to kind of come together and just get excited about new Warhammer stuff that's on its way. The other thing, of course, guys, is to let us know in the chat if there's anything you're particularly hoping that you see, anything you're looking forward to seeing particularly that gets previewed. Obviously, we've all got our own favourite game systems, favourite armies, favourite factions. We're always kind of fingers crossed that those are going to be the things to reveal. And hopefully, some of you guys tuning in will get... Well, you have your moment, right? You'll have your time. Some armies that have been waiting patiently for some new miniatures and some new reveals will get their time today.
Yeah. So what have we got? We've got... The chat's crazy. So
Space
Wolves.
It's moving too fast to read.
Moving too fast.
Before we get stuck in as well, I just want to say thanks to Raf, who's running the tech today. So if it all goes smoothly,
which it will,
obviously. It's all because of him. And a big thanks to Notley, our moderator, who's keeping you guys sane in the comments there as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Big thanks to those guys. Right, shall we kick off with some previews?
Let's jump into it.
Let's go.
That's cool. That's real cool. Night Lords. Mandrakes and Night Lords? Oh, look at these things. That's cool.
A new Kill Team box there. The second for the new season of Kill Team. It's Bad v Bad as well. It's the Drukhari Shadow Demons take on the Night Lords Terror Troops. Eddie, let's start with the Murderous Night Lords. What do we know about these sinister operatives?
Barely hear me?
Yeah, so this is Kill Team Nightmare, so we knew it was on its way.
Yeah.
We knew there was a new box of Kill Team coming. We had announced the name before, and we had talked about the Night Lords, so we're not going to dwell on the Night Lords for too long, because we have seen these guys before, but they're such cool models, it's worth kind of showing again. This is half of your Kill Team set. Night Lords Nemesis Claw Kill Team, and as you can see, it's a really lovely bunch of Chaos Space Marine miniatures, and the key thing really here is that this is a brand new expansion kit for your Chaos Space Marine squad, added on top of the already cool Chaos Space Marine miniatures, and lots of very Night Lordy touches there. So you've got like some bat-winged helmets, you've got some lightning claws, there's lots of very macabre gothic details on them. You've even got a kind of half a loyalist Space Marine on a stick, which is pretty cool as well. But we have seen these before, so we're not going to dwell on them for too long. So we're moving on to the cool new thing that we're announcing today, which is Mandrakes, Drukhari Mandrakes for Kill Team. Obviously, both of these units as well, also available in Warhammer 40,000. So Mandrakes are a unit that's been with the Drukhari with the Dark Eldar, pretty much since their inception, but in various different forms. And this is the first time that this unit's been available in plastic. So you can see already these are really cool, dynamic, very detailed miniatures. A perfect choice for a kill team because these are absolutely kind of shadow operatives that hang out in the night and kind of pounce on opponents in the shadows, that sort of thing.
Cool
a few things to kind of note about this kit. So you'll be familiar with the concept of mandrakes if you're a Drukhari fan already, but there's some new things in the mix here as well. So rather than being a default unit where every model is effectively the same, there's a little bit of variety mixed into this kit as well. So you've got some leader units in there in the form of the Night Fiend. You've got a model called a Shadow Weaver, who's that one that you can see on the far right, kind of throwing a cloak of midnight around himself. And then you've got a couple of variations of weapons in there as well. So you can see bottom left there is a big two-handed flaying sword there, which looks pretty terrifying.
Nice. Imagine swinging
cool.
that.
So the way that these guys fight is that they are kind of part Drukhari, part Shadow Demon. Their origins are a little bit mysterious, as is the case with a lot of Warhammer 40,000, and they wear cloaks of flayed skin. So I suppose in that regard, they probably fashion choices are kind of on par with the Night Lords. I suppose they kind of go to the same tailor,
same style.
But they are pretty good in close combat. They've got kind of flaying knives and weapons, very cruel-looking weaponry there, kind of a little bit butcher in the mix, and they've also got the ability to kind of throw shadowy flame around the place as well. So a threat at range and up close. And in Warhammer 40,000, their thing is that they can kind of pop in and out of the shadows and attack wherever they need to on the battlefield.
Scary stuff indeed.
Yeah, very, very cool unit. I think as well one that Drukhari players have been looking forward to for a very long time in plastic. Now expanding that already very lovely Drukhari range into new exciting places. And I think as well like a treat for painters as well. So you look at some of those miniatures and the opportunity to do some very fancy work on some of those kind of tattoos and glowing bits. Some
fantastic.
A kind of ethereal flame on there as well. A lovely different mix of textures across the models as well. So you've got the kind of flayed skin, you've got the dark demonic skin, you've got kind of wispy hair, and you've got flames and butcher knives and all sorts of stuff. So a really lovely kit to paint
lovely
up
mix,
as well.
Yeah, nice mix. And there's some new terrain as well. This is the
Generatorium.
That's the Generatorium, isn't it? Yeah, of course.
So you could put this in the middle of your new kill zone. Kind of, you can imagine this kind of popping out the middle of the oil rig, in the middle of those kind of turbulent seas across the planet, and a kind of nice solid bit of ground for your forces to fight over. The new season of Kill Team is obviously set across these raised plates that you can imagine kind of popping out of the turbulent seas of the kind of water planets of Warhammer 40,000. But the Generatorium is flexible enough actually that it's a large piece of terrain that you could also sit quite happily in the middle of a Warhammer 40,000 battlefield, and it's tall enough as well that you could probably like hide a few infantry units behind it as well. So it's just a nice, cool, fairly sizable blocky piece of terrain that you can add to any game, either Kill Team or Warhammer 40,000.
2 levels there as well, I think, because like that sort of upper level and then that kind of lower bit as well on it. If we go back to the other, I think that's the.
Yeah, so if you're playing Kill Team especially, there's lots of like little nooks and crannies and stuff, which is what you want from Kill Team, right? You want to have enough places to have some heavy cover and kind of pop out and like fire some pistol shots down there or throw some flame, whatever your ranged weapon is, before you get kind of up close and personal and into the melee of close combat.
Nice. Lovely stuff.
Yeah, and all of that comes together initially in a big box set, which is Kill Team Nightmare, and then, as is traditional, both of those units will be made available separately, individually for Warhammer 40,000, and that terrain piece as well. So, all of that on its way. So whether you're a Kill Team fan or a Warhammer 40,000 fan, there's some good stuff to look forward to in that set.
Oh, very, very nice. So I think without further ado, shall we do the
let's have a look at the next
reveal.
thing.
Ghost. Some Lizard Man stuff.
Oh, new warbands willing to brave the horrors of the Gnarlwood there in this Warcry box, Pyre and Flood. It's Lumineth versus Nighthaunt.
Nice.
Eddie, tell us a little bit about this.
Eddie.
So this is a new box set for Warcry. As you say, we've got Lumineth and Nighthaunt. This is a continuation of the Warcry season we're in already, which is set in the jungles of Gur. So still very much in the setting that you're familiar with, which means you can quite happily pitch both of these warbands against any of the warbands that currently exist in Warcry. And much like every other Warcry set we've seen so far, as well as adding new skirmish forces to Warcry, they also add new units to armies for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So if you've got a Nighthaunt force or a Lumineth force, this gives you another unit to kind of add into the mix. So if we start off with the Udrillian Riverblades, this is effectively the aspect of water made manifest for the Lumineth. So if you're familiar with the way that the Lumineth army works, generally speaking, the warriors, or the elite warriors certainly within that army, will kind of pay homage or be inspired by the spirits of the realms of natural forces for the most part. So we've seen mountain already, we've seen air, and now we're seeing the forces of the rivers basically kind of come to life. And these are very fast, very hard-hitting,
I'm not sure why.
Elite warriors who are able to kind of dance around enemy blows before delivering their kind of precision strikes. And you've got a good mix of different unit types in there, and you can sort of like read into them a little bit. That you've got some commander unit, you've got some kind of elite fighters there, and you've got some, I suppose, new additions to the mix. So your leader there is called a Pure Flood Seneschal. He's the one right in the middle with the very impressive stallion helm and his kind of trident.
Average paramedic, geez. Welcome.
Your kind of the ones with the fully armored faceplates, which are kind of very in tune with the spirit of the water. And then you've got the kind of new additions to the mix, which are the Crest Dancers, which are the kind of more lightly armored warriors who are just learning their trade sort of thing. But this unit in Warcry, you can imagine being very effective because they're going to be very fast, they're going to hit very hard, and they can dance quite happily across all the various pieces of terrain. And what they're trying to do effectively in Warhammer Age of Sigmar is tend to and nurture the rivers and the wild watery places of the mortal realms. And particularly in the Gnarlwood, they're trying to make sure that the river that's been kind of set off course by the eruption of this huge Gurish jungle is kind of set back on the right path to kind of wash away the forces of chaos and darkness that inevitably pop up almost everywhere in the mortal realms.
Now, stop me if I'm wrong, but I imagine that the Nighthaunt Pyregeists have absolutely no intention of allowing that to happen.
Yeah, they do look like.
Yeah, so this is very much an elemental force battle because you've got on one hand the forces of water and then and fire on this side, and the Pyregeists have some fun IP basically where
the guy in the upper
Nagash is the Lord of Death and obviously is particularly fond of cruel and unusual punishments for the spirits of anybody who's seen wronged him or otherwise really just generally a bit spiteful. And all of these characters are to some extent warriors or mortals who in life were guardians of sacred places or particularly temples of the dead. So they would have been either priests who would have overseen mortuary rites or guardians of tombs or grave robbers or something like that. So that guy right in the middle there, the Deacon of Flames, would have been a mortuary priest, which would have been held in very high regard in the mortal realms in life, and kind of made sure that the spirits of the departed were kind of seen happily into whatever Shaishian paradise they thought they were going to go to. Nagash didn't really like that because he wanted to make sure that all the souls went to him. So whenever he got his hands on any of these souls, he'd make sure that they would kind of their punishment was actually not to kind of shepherd fallen souls to paradise, but actually just to make sure that they went to him. The warriors with the halberds there are Bale Guard, so they would previously have been
like these guys a lot. Definitely going
complexes and looked after the sacred burial grounds of the mortal realms. And again, Nagash didn't like that because he wants to have get hold of both the souls and the literal bones and mortal remains of those warriors. So when he managed to get hold of one of those souls,
I'm still kind of distracted by the upper right ghost. He kind of looks like he has a
flames. Then you've got the flame wraiths, which are the ones holding the braziers there. And in life, they would have been they would have been monks who various tomb complexes and things. And in death, they now serve Nagash, setting people on fire, basically, and ushering those souls to him. And I think my favourite are those ones at the top, which are torch rates.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And they are effectively, in life, they would be grave robbers. And Nagash isn't a fan of that either, because he likes to get hold of all of those bones to build into stuff. That's kind of the main building material, really, for Nagash is bones. So in death, if he gets hold of the soul of a grave robber, he gives him another cruel and unusual punishment to basically be on fire all the time, but also to serve him throwing that fire back at his enemies. So a really interesting mix of units for Warcry. So this very much built as a skirmish warband with lots of different variety in it, but also able to be used in Warhammer Age of Sigmar as a kind of mixed unit as well. So it's a really fun addition.
And this comes with a bit of scenery as well, a Slan statue from Talaxis. This is the Idol of the Old Ones, which is a malfunctioning artifact of power.
Yeah. So the whole of the Gurish jungle, the Nullwood, is effectively strewn with bits of this colossal Seraphon starship that's kind of crashed across it. You can imagine this thing being like the prow or the figurehead of that temple ship that's kind of crashed through the middle of the jungle and fallen off. And obviously everything Seraphon is just laced with magic, and it's a really nice mix of kind of fantastical and the arcane. So you've got, obviously it's a big cool statue of possibly a Slan, possibly an old one, but also you've got some hints there that there's some tech going on inside it. So there is that kind of little celestial constellation of dots on the front might be magical in some way. It's obviously covered in precious jewels and gems and all sorts, which is probably magical in some way, shape or form.
Absolutely.
So anybody who kind of stumbles across this in the mortal realms, apart from the fact that it's half made of gold, if you can drag this back to civilization somehow, you'll probably be quite rich. But the Nullwood is probably not keen on relinquishing this. So, if you can get it, good stuff. But you've got to brave the Pyre and the Flood first.
Nice.
And all of this comes in a big box set called Pyre and Flood, and comes with a new Warband tome, which gives you all the rules you need to play the Lumineth and the Nighthaunt new Warbands in Warcry.
Lovely stuff. Warcry there. Oh, yeah.
There it is all together. So I think that gives you a sense of how big that piece of terrain is as well. Like, it's a nice chunky piece of terrain to put onto your battlefield. And if you have been collecting Warcry terrain since the start of this season, you will probably now have pretty much a whole battlefield full of weird trees and old one relics and all sorts of stuff. So this is a nice kind of centerpiece to kind of top that off.
Lovely stuff. So let's take a look at the next one.
Let's keep going.
Oh! Some Kroots. Kroot! Oh, that looks cool. Oh. Huh. Very, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, that is...
Hunting season is well and truly open.
Cool.
Everyone in the chat just going,
cool.
Kroot. This is the new Kroot for the Tau Empire, along with the new codex as well for the Tau in 10th edition. Eddie, let's start with the Kroot. What do we know about these Masters of DNA?
So the Kroot have been part of the Tau Empire since their inception back in a previous edition of Warhammer 40,000. But they haven't had a huge amount of attention since they came out, with the one very notable exception of the Kill Team that was released for Kill Team. But we are now seeing a massive expansion for the Kroot, and what we're going to show you today is only some of the new Kroot that are on their way for the Tau Empire as auxiliaries for Warhammer 40,000. So this is, we'll start with the Kroot Carnivore Squad. These are your basic troopers. So this is a refresh of an existing kit with loads more detail. It's been a very long time since the Kroot Carnivore Squad came out. It was, I think, early 2000s, so almost 20 years waiting for this new unit. And the new kit has got everything you'd hope for in a new kit of Warhammer 40,000. Loads of different options in the mix there to make them very dynamic and very cool. You've got things like
cool.
new special weapons that you can see bottom left
these things
there.
Are very cool.
Got some lots of combat options, lots of things to kind of add a bit of variety, and these are very interchangeable as well with the Kroot Kill Team that came out I think last year. So loads of really nice options to kind of mix into your army. Cool. And if you've got a Tau army, you can have quite a lot of these units as well. So there's not a huge amount of extra detail, I suppose, on these beyond the normal the warrior themselves, which is good because you might want to have 20, 30, 40 of these guys in a force, which is pretty cool. But this is arguably the least exciting of the new units because there's plenty of other very cool stuff on the way. This is a Kroot Flesh Shaper. One of the things that the guys have done with the new Kroot is they've really expanded the concept of shapers, which previously was almost like a catch-it-all term for all Kroot leaders were called shapers, and what they've now done is expanded the idea of a shaper into different roles. So there are now shapers whose main job it is to be to kind of lead the evolutionary development of the Kroot. There are those of them that are almost like shamanic. There are those of them that are kind of trackers or hunters or war leaders and things like that. So the Flesh Shaper, his kind of role is to kind of basically decide who the Kroot are going to eat. They're like, you want to eat that bit and you want to eat that bit.
Don't eat that.
And kind of make sure, almost like a butcher kind of role to some extent, and that's reflected in some of the weapons. But you can see that this guy's also tooled up to the nines, right? Like he's got a lot of.
They remind me of Abe from Oddworld,
both for killing and for cutting. So he's also going to be a bit of a menace in close combat. A really beautiful kit though. Like there's a lot of detail on that. So if you're a painter and you're looking for something to kind of show off your skills, this is cool. And I think worth saying as well across the entire range, if you have a Tau army, this gives you a really interesting and different set of stuff to paint into that army, which otherwise is very kind of like near future sci-fi. Another shaper. So cool. This is a really cool kit. This is the War Shaper, and their role really is the kind of general of the Kroot force. And you can see already there with some of the options we've got on display that there are a lot of different approaches to this particular kit. You can see variant heads, variant weapons. You've got bows and staves and close combat weapons and all sorts.
They need some Mad Max
really
vehicles.
Lovely detail across this model as well. You can see the cloak there with that kind of reptilian Kroot looking flayed skin on the back there. Loads of kind of extra detail on this guy as well. So this is a really lovely model. This is probably one of the more detailed miniatures in the Kroot range.
It's great.
And really nice to kind of see that kind of character part of the Kroot expanded, because we haven't really seen that since the first incarnation of the Kroot. So it's great to see.
Me likey.
Now this is a brand new unit. So Krootox will be familiar with anyone who's played Tau Empire Army in the past.
Thing was really cool.
But Krootox Rampages gives you a very different way of approaching them. So rather than being lumbering weapons platforms, these are younger, bold kind of shock cavalry version of the Kroot, who charge into the middle of enemy armies and kind of send stuff flying. So this is kind of in the mix with your things like kind of Thunderwolves and Squig cavalry and stuff like that. So they hit very hard and they can kind of tear enemy infantry and stuff to pieces. They've got a little bit of shooting as well with those javelins and things, but really what these guys are about is just smashing right into the core of the enemy army and making a mess. And what they really do, if you've got a Tau army, is give you a very different style of approach to part of your force, because one of the things that you do struggle with the Tau army is, well, if the enemy get close, what am I going to do to fight them up close? How do I shift enemy units off objectives? This is one of your units that can absolutely do that. You send these guys into an enemy force on an objective, and they will.
You can like, looking at these things, like even the guy in the middle.
Very cool dynamic miniatures. You can see there they're kind of loping across the battlefield.
Like the visual language of design.
A very
and you look
dynamic,
at something
very fun
and you see familiar elements.
Yeah, they look great.
You can almost hear what it sounds like.
The traditional Krootox hasn't gone away though. If anything, he's bulked up a little bit. Nice. And again, he comes with a bunch of new options. So you can see there, this is a kind of older, gnarlier looking Krootox maybe than the Kroot Rampages. He's got kind of longer quills. Lots of variety on this model as well. So you can see alternate head options, alternate gun options as well, which is a new thing. So you've got some kind of blast weapon options. You've got some heavier, kind of big autocannon-esque sort of options. And
Yeah,
this guy,
cool.
role doesn't really change. Fundamentally, what he's for is kind of hanging out towards the back of the battlefield, or with some of your longer range Kroot units and picking off targets at range. But obviously, still a Krootox. So if you get into close combat with him, he's still going to rip you in half unless you're a pretty decent.
It's a wonderful update to the old design. The old design just looks clunky.
That's about
by
half
comparison.
of the new Kroot stuff that's coming. That's what we're going to show you today. But all of the stuff that we've just shown you there actually comes in one big launch set, which is the Kroot hunting pack. So you get 2 of those units of Kroot infantry, the Kroot carnivores. You get a big unit of Kroot rampages. You get a Krootox, and you get the 2 shaper units that we saw there as well. So you get a very sizable force that you can either bolt onto the side of a Tau Empire force, or you can use it as the start of a Kroot force. And one of the things that is in the new Tau Empire Codex, which also comes in that box, is a bunch of new detachments. And one of those detachments effectively allows you to lean almost entirely, or entirely if you want to, into a Kroot force. Nice. So if you go, you know what, actually, these new models are so cool, or I've been waiting so long for a Kroot army that I just want Kroot. You know what? I don't want any of the Tau stuff. I just want to have a mercenary force of Kroot. You can actually build an entire Kroot army very happily with one of the detachments in this book, and all of the kind of stratagems and extra rules and things key off
long-time
Kroot
people
units,
wanted
so you
Kroot
can build them like that.
as a book,
you can go,
or a supplement.
I've got a Tau army that I've been collecting for a long time, and what I really need is a couple of auxiliary units to
Forge World used to produce those Narlocks and everything.
Do some infiltrating, grab objectives early
cool
on,
to see
or
those
just
make
kind of
the transition to
different
plastic.
to paint for aesthetic purposes, in which case you can add in any of those new Kroot units into your Tau army. So I think pretty much best of both worlds. You can have it either way.
Yeah, they're very, very cool.
Some lovely stuff for the Kroot there.
Yeah, get a treat. And like I say, that's only it's only about half of the new stuff that's on its way, and we'll have more of that Kroot stuff to show you over the next coming weeks and months.
Very nice.
You saw those?
Shall we check out the next
Let's
reveal?
do it.
Let's do it.
You got a lot of people in your gang?
A few. Oh. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they look amazing.
Krathusa the Crone Seer there. An important new Daughters of Khaine character for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Eddie, tell us about this mysterious winged prophet.
So this is a really exciting release for a few reasons. So if we go from a lore perspective first, the Crone Seer represents a really interesting part of the Daughters of Khaine lore, which is that she isn't under the sway of Morathi. So if you're familiar with the way that Daughters of Khaine work, Morathi has effectively subverted the faith of Khaine to kind of channel all of the belief into the bloody-handed god into her own power source. But there are a few of the Daughters of Khaine who are a little bit suspicious of Morathi's intentions and don't really believe what she's up to. And Krathusa, the Crone Seer, represents part of that. It's also a very kind of deep lore dive into some very old elven lore. With the crone is a very old elven god, and she's almost representing someone who's kind of stumbled across the power of this buried elven deity, and is kind of manifesting it. She's blind, and that kind of headdress that she's got also kind of, I think you were saying...
I dig this model. This is friggin' cool.
Has inverted spikes into her own eyes, so she can't see, but she can see through the power of her kind of crows that she spreads around, so she's...
power of crows
kind of lives in the shadow and kind of sees through these familiars, and the feathers of her wings can also turn into an ethereal
Why are you suspicious of Morathi? It's not like she's betrayed every single person ever.
Like so she's definitely not a good guy. She's on Team Order, but she's a fairly sinister sort of character. And representing a very interesting kind of new piece of the political dynamic for the Daughters of Khaine, particularly. In game terms, she is a powerful priestess who can add a lot of stuff to a Khainite force, and you can certainly build an army into that kind of way of playing. And certainly, as a model, just a really lovely display piece, right? So a much more, I suppose, if you've got the Daughters of Khaine represent kind of blood and shadow, and Morathi is very much the blood end of the spectrum, and this is very much the kind of shadow end of that spectrum.
Yeah.
And that's represented by the box set that you can get her in the first time, which is Cthulhu's Crone Host, and in this set you get that leader, the Crone Seer herself, alongside some of the units she's most
character from
used to leading, sort of thing. So you can certainly kind of bolt this into an existing Daughters of Khaine force, or you can kind of lean into this new kind of shadowy aspect where she's the leader.
Fire Drake.
Options there as well.
Yeah.
It's not what Kroot you have, but how you use them.
She's an important player in the Mortal Realms as well. So if we have a look at our next reveal, we'll see why.
Oh. Dawnbringers 5. Ooh. Cool. Oh. Oh, that's cool. Very cool. That guy's cool. Huh.
Some new heroes rising in Dawnbringers 5 Shadow of the Crone. Eddie, what do we know about this?
Yeah, so the Crone Seer is the titular character of Book 5 of the Dawnbringer series. Book 4 is on the way and will be kind of death-themed and will be all about the kind of flesh-eater courts, and that's on its way very soon. But we followed very soon after by Book 5, which is a much more gritty, low-level, I guess, exploration of the Mortal Realms, mostly set in the city of Hammerhall, where the Crone Seer is aiding a team of Age of Sigmar heroes as they root out some of the evil beneath the twin-tailed city. So as well as the Crone Seer, who is a kind of important character, and we get to see why she is one of the big movers and shakers of the lore in the Age of Sigmar, we also get to meet two characters which you might be familiar with if you are viewers of Age of Sigmar animations, or you're fans of the Black Library series, which is Callus and Toll, the saviors of Cinderfall. So these are agents of Azir. They are two characters who are effectively a little bit like your kind of witch hunter archetype in Age of Sigmar, and what they do in Hammerhall and beyond is to root out those kind of chaos cults and various principles that might seek to undermine the cities of Sigmar. So very much in the Cities of Sigmar army, but
I like the old lady with the cat.
The cool. low-level kind of grunt work, I guess, of rooting out those chaos cults and things that might pop up under the nose of the city. They are joined by a bunch of hangers-on. So you've got Valis, the Keeper, Askian, who is the Stormcast there, and he is one of the guardians of Hammerhall. You can see on his shield there, you've got the symbol of Hammerhall, which I think we first saw in some of the very early Cities of Sigmar stuff. So he looks after
definitely good for Mordheim,
fire,
for sure,
and kind of goes along when things get really serious, right? When the agents of Azir need a little bit of Stormcast help, they can call on this guy. You've also got Lisa Ravenia, who is your assassin thief looking character on the top left there, and she obviously brings all the skills that an assassin/thief would bring, which is always very useful. You've got an interesting character, Mistress Varentia. She is the character there with the kind of Siamese-looking cat.
Cool cat.
And she is a spy mistress in Hammerhall, and the way that she is able to do that is that she has lots of little helpers and friends and critters and creatures that she can see, and you can see there it's got a collar with that glowing gem there, which looks a little bit like some of the gems that she's got on her person. And she's probably got various fleet and flocks of those
really cool
little creatures that she can use to spy on various places around
I can
the city
see
and
many
beyond.
people spending
and of course there's a Gryph-hound in there as well. So
painting that model to
the Gryph-hound,
a really great standard.
Loyal,
I'm willing to bet you're going to see tons of people do that.
So not one, but two.
It's a good-looking model.
Little pets in there to go with Callus and Toll.
This
is really exciting because Callus and Toll are
even the Stormcast
two
is really
kind of really
cool
fun, interesting characters that, especially if you've been following the Black Library books and animations, you might be familiar with. But they definitely give you a kind of mortal eye view of the Mortal Realms and kind of someone to explore the kind of city of Hammerhall, particularly.
The witch hunter dude.
And in this. Dawnbringers
Wouldn't
Book
take much to
5
make
will
that
kind of see
character
them in
look like
action and what they get up to.
a 40k
Across the
model.
board, every single one of these is a really lovely miniature as well.
Great,
so
aren't they?
kind of nodding a little bit to the style we saw in things like Curse City. So if you've started a kind of
Fire drink.
Age of Sigmar
Doesn't Buddy in the
characters
armor look
and,
overdressed?
just lovely fantasy miniatures, right? That kind of
Like with the rest of the
in
gang?
Mortal
Yeah,
Realms.
he's kind of
These
just
are great
flashy.
additions
Everybody
to
else
it.
is kind of
Yeah,
just
they're brilliant.
subdued.
Really lovely.
There is a new novel on the way as well.
Yes.
So they already
Ghost.
featured in
Possibly
a
with
couple
fur
of novels
bit around
already.
her neck, maybe one of her
and
minions
there's more
masquerading
on
as
the
an
way
accessory.
In,
Yeah, for sure.
Callus and Toll, where we get to see them in Hammerhall getting up to what they do best, uncovering chaos cults and general swashbuckling.
Lovely stuff. Should we see the next reveal?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, let's do it. Death George. Ooh, zombies. Oh, something wrong with his ribs. Oh, he's cool. Cool. Huh. Yeah, those are cool. Death George.
Zondara's Gravebreakers bringing some love to the Death Gorge there. This is a new Death Warband for Warhammer Underworlds. Eddie, what do we know about these?
So this is a really fun premise for a warband because effectively at its heart, it doesn't look like it. Bear with me, this is a love story, right?
It is.
So Zondara is the necromancer wizard character that you can see in the centre there, and her love has been cursed in the realm of beasts. There's loads of curses going around. It's Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
Every second person is cursed in some way,
of
shape, or
course.
form. But her love has been cursed and turned into a beast, basically. So that weird beast wolf monster character there. She
thing.
is seeking in the realm of beasts a cure for that, and she thinks that the cure can be found somewhere in the vast graveyards of the realm of beasts. So using a mix of necromantic and Gurish magic, she has raised a team of zombies, imbued them with extra bestial strength, and she is cracking open graves across the realm of beasts to try and find magical cures, amulets and things to cure her lost love. What that gives you in Underworlds Warband is a really interesting mix of models and also some very interesting mix of abilities and things for gaming purposes. So right at the heart of the Warband, you have a necromancer / Gurish wizard, and then you've also got a powerful monster character, and that's backed up with some zombies.
Ghost of Starman. I like how half of
they're not going
the Death
to win any
Warbands
awards
have
themselves, but they give you a
so
bit of
they
extra
can
muscle to
avoid
kind of grab
just
objectives
having
and things.
mobs of
And
7 zombies all the time.
henchmen,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
And you can
You may
also
as
kind
well,
of
right?
bolster them with Gurish magic as well. So they're a little bit tougher. They hit a bit harder maybe than your basic death zombie because these are also empowered with a little bit of Gurish zeal as well. So a bit of magic, a bit of combat, a very flexible warband, a very kind of fun mechanics that kind of overlap between them as well, and some fun miniatures that you can paint up.
The beast face
some interesting
looks
ways.
freaky.
So, and showcasing
not
as
in a
well, I
good
think
way.
one of the things about Underworlds, which is most of the big factions now we've kind of ticked off. You've got your kind of humans and your Seraphon and your Chaos, and we're now getting to explore some of the kind of weird and wonderful corners of the Mortal Realms with some kind of left field warbands that maybe you didn't expect to see.
Yeah, which is great.
That can add some exciting mechanics to the game as well. So it's exciting across the board, really.
Yeah, really good stuff. Lovely.
Yeah.
Should we do the next one?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. That's cool. Huh. Cool. Look at that.
Humanity's finest mortal troops, the Solar Auxilia, and some all-new plastic kits.
Ghost
big release.
Plastic Solar Auxilia, yeah.
This is an absolutely
Solar
enormous
Auxilia,
release
yeah.
of plastic kits for the Horus Heresy. This is
Yeah,
the
it's
largest
pretty
release of
damn
plastic
cool.
kits we've seen since the launch of the new edition of the Horus Heresy, with all the Space Marine stuff, and almost the entirety of the Solar Auxilia range that you could possibly want is released almost immediately as a huge wave of plastics, and it's very, very cool. You can have a look at some of those on screen right
Brothers?
now.
Yeah, the Thunder Brothers.
And let's dive into
Thunder
some
Buddies.
of these miniatures because they are phenomenally cool, very detailed.
Yeah, these guys are cool.
And far easier to put together as a force and collect as an army than they were previously when they were available in resin. The team have done a great job of updating some already very cool resin designs into plastic, and in the mix they've added in loads of options and customizability and different ways that you can put these
can
together.
also just
So if we
use
kick
these
off
as
with
Imperial Guard.
the las rifle
Like,
section,
this is
these
cool.
are your basic troopers for the Solar Auxilia, and the Solar Auxilia have an interesting place in the Horus Heresy because against the Space Marine, they are relatively outmatched, but the Space Marines alone are not able to kind of conquer the entire galaxy. So when the Emperor set out on his Great Crusade, he identified the fact that even though you've got hundreds of thousands of Space Marines, the galaxy is a very, very big place. So you need some Auxilia to go with them, you need some backup. So Solar Auxilia literally is Auxilia from the solar system. That's where the name comes from. So they were attached on to the Space Marine forces to give them extra manpower.
The more you know,
as
I
the Crusade
guess.
evolved, the Solar Auxilia sort of became a byproduct for a byword for elite mortal troops. So other than the Space Marines, they are seen as the most competent
more
troops
AdMech.
in
kind of.
the
Having
armies
paramedic.
of mankind.
Yeah, for regular humans,
in the
yeah.
wider Imperial army, the Solar
Very good.
Auxilia are kind of
They look
looked
like
upon
cultists
as
in a
these
clean
are
paint
the
scheme.
best
Yeah,
a mortal
kind of,
can
eh?
get without being elevated
Yeah.
to the status of kind of post-human in some way, shape, or form. Usually Space Marine. They are given the best weapons that the Imperium can muster en masse.
I mean, with these
so there are millions
alternate,
of these
like,
guys out
human
spread across
soldiers
the Great
with
Crusade,
las rifles, I mean, like,
and lots of regiments
like, it's
in
limitless
the wake
what you can
of
create.
the Great Crusade have kind of modelled
Like,
themselves
mix
upon
and
the
matching
Solar
with
Auxilia as
other,
well. So every legion is backed up
Imperial
by
Guard.
hosts of troops that look like these, as well as there being plenty of expeditionary and crusade forces that are also backed up with loads of Solar Auxilia troops. And then when Horus turned
Looks
against
like
the
they got
Emperor,
crotch
about
protection
half of the
too.
Solar Auxilia,
Good
just
for
like
them,
the Space
yeah.
Marines, fell with him.
The
and decided to
31st
kind of
millennium
back
is
his
a
claim
dangerous
to be the
place,
new
man.
Emperor of mankind. So you can play these either as loyalist or as traitor. The las rifle section here represents your basic troopers. They have got las guns and bayonets. The bayonets look particularly ferocious. You can see those on a few of those there. They look like they would make a mess of someone.
Yeah. Be careful with those.
But up against a Space Marine, you will need a lot of these guys in your force. So if you are looking to build an army of these for the Horus Heresy and you want to go infantry heavy, you can put an awful lot of Solar Auxilia las sections
Holy
into your
jockstrap.
army.
Yeah.
The rules for these already exist, so you can already find them in some of the books that accompany
Or it's
the
like a
release
chastity
of
belt.
the
FAU,
Age of
yeah.
Darkness box set. But the key thing really is that up to this point they were available in resin, which was it's a less useful material to work with than plastic. It takes a bit longer to put your army together. It's more expensive. These are going to mean that you can reasonably build entire armies of Solar Auxilia if you want to, which is very cool. Loads of options in there as well. I'm sure you guys are already taking a look. The Sergeant is really cool. He's got power
It's a
fists,
chassis
and
belt,
plasma
yeah.
pistols and bolkites, and there's kind of banners and stuff in there as well. But this is, again, arguably the least exciting of all the kits that's on the way. There's loads of cool upgrades and things for them as well. This is the Tactical Command section. So you can see in the mix there you've got
these guys are
Vox,
cool.
you've got kind of company banners and things like that. You've got some power weapons, plasma pistols. So these are relatively well equipped by human standards, right? So like, and it's just good, right? Because they have to go up against things like Space Marines. So you can imagine these guys having to hold the line against things like charging World Eaters and stuff like that, and kind of. You're going to lose a few, but
It's not
through
really
weight of
quite
numbers and
crotch
through,
protection. It's just
you know,
more of a belt.
Grit and steel.
Because you can see his dingleberries are still hanging out.
And there's something
It's
about
cloth.
them
It's painted
that
as
you kind
cloth.
of want to root for because they are closer to human certainly than the Space Marines.
The captain gets a crotch protection, but these soldiers don't.
There are a lot of vehicles on the way for for these guys. So this is the Ethon Heavy Sentinel, and you can see there that it comes with loads of weapon options. So you've got a range of different missiles you can put on the side of it. You've also got a range of different main cannons you can put on there as well. Loads of choices, multi-lasers, heavy flamers, melter. There's a Volkite in there as well, which is my personal favourite.
Nice.
Basically, anytime you can put Volkite on something,
put it on.
you're going to choose Volkite. It's just the best.
Yeah.
It's not technically the best in game terms. It's just my
average
favourite,
paramedic.
I like to imagine
Super
those
easy
make
Gene
the
Stealer
best
cult
make,
army conversion.
the units when they shoot.
You could. Yeah.
And this is sort of a forerunner of the Sentinel designs that you see in Warhammer 40,000. It's much more sort of industrial looking.
Yeah, it
these
almost
would
looks
have
more
been
steampunk.
mass-produced in their thousands and sent out alongside the Solar Auxilia forces, allowing them some kind of close-range support as they kind of wade off into Crusade. Certainly not a match for something like a Dreadnought, but again, much like the troops underneath it, would be
everybody who
outnumbering
plays
things like Space Marine Dreadnoughts in
Astra
a
Militarum.
firefight. So they're hoping that your weighted number again is going to.
They know a Sentinel's not going up against a
Lots
damn
of
Dreadnought.
lovely little touches in there that are very reminiscent of some of the later Sentinel designs as well, nodding to that idea that
Like what
lots
fools?
of the things
What
that you
fools
see
are
during
out there
the
with their
Horus
Sentinels
Heresy
going? Yeah, I
are,
want to take on a Dreadnought.
The origin of some of the things that we
And I'll
know
win.
and are very familiar with in Warhammer 40,000. There are loads of tanks on the way.
Nice.
Probably the most common amongst them, the Dracosian transport. Unlike the Rhinos of the Space Marines, the Dracosian does a few more things for you. So you could pack a lot of troops into this, and because
This thing's
it
cool.
also has to kind of function as a mobile fire base, it does add quite a lot to your army. Loads of options in the mix there as well. So the pintle mounted, you can either have heavy flamers, you can have multi-lasers, but the main reason you bring this guy along is that big demolisher cannon on the front.
Yeah.
Right?
Nathaniel, how would the
Nice
army
big
fit in 40k
siege-breaking
rules-wise?
demolisher cannon to even
Astra
the odds.
Militarum.
If your little troopers need to go up against a big unit of Space
Fire
Marines,
Drake.
always helpful.
A good
if,
shin
if,
kick
three
to
or
the
four of them have
Dreadnought.
been blown to
Yeah,
bits
good
before
shin
your
kick,
plucky troops have to
Average
charge
paramedic. The
into
Sentinel looked like an
units
orc
and,
designed it.
of
Yeah,
flames or
almost. Yeah.
something.
Heavy reinforcements. On
There's
the
a new
armor and
Leman
everything.
Russ on the way. So this is a Heresy era Leman Russ, very reminiscent of the Leman Russes that you see in Warhammer 40,000.
That's very cool.
There's absolutely nothing stopping you as well if you decide you wanted to kind of port a few of these or use.
It's kind of
some bits
hilarious
into
how
your Warhammer
ornate the
40,000 force.
dozer blade
But
is.
the weapons and loadout and the crew has been designed specifically with the idea that this works alongside your Solar Auxilia force, and you've got all of the different weapon options available to you. So the Leman Russ strike tank comes with the Vanquisher. You've got battle cannon, twin autocannon, and twin las cannon, and a variety of different pintle-mounted options as well, with things like hunter-killer missiles and heavy flamers and stuff. You've also got a pretty brutal-looking dozer blade and your kind of forward las cannon on the front there as well. And again, it looks a little bit more maybe industrial, maybe kind of mass-produced than some of the later Leman Russes. And again, this thing would have been rolled out in its thousands as the kind of workhorse tank of the Imperial Army.
A clean dozer is a
whereas
happy
in Warhammer
dozer.
40,000, you certainly see squadrons of these. In the time of the Horus Heresy, you would have had whole battlefields full of these tanks rolling forward. Battles like Talon and things like that, where you would have had entire companies of these in the hundreds rolling across the kind of enormous, kind of apocalyptic-sized battlefields of the Horus Heresy. We've seen some of that in Legions Imperialis, of course, where you can kind of actually have hundreds of these on the battlefield. But there is something cool about having the bigger tank as well, and still putting a lot of them on the battlefield. And all of that stuff we've just seen comes together in the Solar Auxilia battle group. So this is very much like the kind of army boxes
That
we've
transport's
seen for
huge.
Age of Darkness and things like that. And all comes together. If you want to kind of kick off, kickstart a Solar Auxilia battle group, you can pick up this and it gives you a good starting point. It's certainly not a full army because, as we were saying, the Solar Auxilia, you can have an awful lot of them, right? So you can have hundreds of troops on the battlefield if you want, but certainly gives you a very good starting point. And much like lots of other things in the Horus Heresy, you can ally these into your forces as well. So if you've got a Space Marine force, you can quite reasonably decide to kind of bolt a few of these Auxilia on to it. But there is something fun about just having lots of mortal troops.
Yeah.
But that's not all. There is more. There's more on the way for the Solar Auxilia. So those of you who are very familiar with the Horus Heresy rules will know that the Leman Russ has got more options than that kit. We couldn't quite pack every single weapon option onto the single frame, so there is an alternate version as well, which is the assault tank. And this one, generally speaking, is the kind of short range but more brutal version of the Leman Russ. And the main difference really is the main battle cannon and some of the different options you get for the pintle mount. So Demolisher, which is your kind of classic close-range siege weapon. You've got a big plasma cannon, and you've got a Volkite cannon in there as well, which is obviously what I'm going to go with.
He's got a pintle-mounted las cannon. Jeez.
So this is a devastating short-range weapon version of the Leman Russ, and interchangeable as well with the other one too, so you can kind of mix the kits together if you wanted to.
That's cool.
The Velataris Storm section is a really fun addition as well. These are the elite, kind of more heavily armoured version of the Solar Auxilia.
These guys are really cool looking.
Composition you can see.
I like
on
the
screen
buckets
there
they're wearing.
Fully kitted out with Volkite. So
these things are cool.
Your kind of deflagrating anti-infantry version. So an awful lot of firepower coming out.
And Buddy on the far
squad,
left,
so
something about him feels like a classic Rogue Trader era sculpt.
Kind of unleashing a huge amount of firepower into things. And you do need a lot of firepower to take down the things they have to go up against. So you probably want a few of these in the mix.
30k
worth noting about this unit, you can also kit them out with axes. Which gives you a little bit of close combat punch into the mix as well. There is something endearing, I suppose, about a human that has been given like a big heavy suit of armor, and then they're looking across the battlefield at these 7 or 8 foot tall superhuman warriors they need to go up against, and then they come out and hand them an axe and goes, "Can I have a gun?" He's like, "No."
I think it's probably why he has that.
Time. It's
quite giving me that Rogue Trader era
and all the rest
vibe.
of it. You can chop through stuff.
Because that model on the far left,
you've got to respect.
He looks like a sculpt from
a trooper if they're willing to go toe to toe with a Space Marine armed with only.
I say that in a good way.
Sturdy powered axe. That's pretty good. But again, a really lovely flexible kit. Lots of interchangeability between some of these kits.
The helmets
as well.
are very retro sci-fi. Yeah, they are.
Back banners and stuff like that. You can swap and change between them, much like you can with the Legion kit for the Space Marines, where you can kind of swap and change between lots of those armor marks and things. And then last up, one of the bigger hitters for the Solar Auxilia, the Malkador Heavy Tank. So this is a kind of one-up on your Leman Russ with even more firepower. You've got loads of options on this for different things, but this is designed to go toe-to-toe with things like Spartan tanks and Land Raiders and the kind of slightly larger tanks. And again, you can have quite a lot of these in your force, and you can kit it out to do basically whatever your army isn't very good at. You can go, I need more anti-infantry, I need more anti-tank, I need more things that can take down monsters. Whatever is missing in your force, you can add into this with a huge variety of different weaponry. So you've got battle cannons and las cannons and demolisher cannons and heavy flamers and different sponson options for either close range anti-infantry or longer range anti-tank support. Whatever you need, basically, the Malkador can kind of fill that gap in your army. So
the guard do need more bigger
tanks. You can quite happily fit 2 or 3 of these into your force if you wanted to go kind of tank heavy.
That's Jacob. What about Skaven and Age of Sigmar? Nothing about that yet.
And all of that stuff is on its way very soon, and it looks phenomenal as well. It's a really cool army.
Oh, you just tuned in? Yeah, no, there was nothing about Skaven.
Oh, lovely stuff.
There we go.
No Skaven.
Some amazing releases there. Any highlights for you, Eddie?
I'm excited about Callus and Toll, I think, actually.
Yeah,
I like those two. I'm looking forward to painting up some new stuff. But I think there's some really good stuff for all the games.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the Kroot as well, I think.
Yeah, the Kroot.
They look very cool, kind of bolted onto a Tau army, but I think looking forward to seeing what people do with entire armies of Kroot.
Yeah, and that's half the...
And that's just half of them. Yeah, there's more on the way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all good, right?
Really
the Solar Auxilia launch is going to be phenomenal as well.
New mandrakes.
Awesome.
The thing about that I'm quite excited about is that up until this point, the rules have been available, but most Horus Heresy games have been Space Marine versus Space Marine. But this adds like a whole extra dimension. So all of a sudden, even if you're a Space Marine,
is there something coming?
Okay, so what happens if I need?
You might have to go back
I'm
or watch the
restream. I'm going to have some
yeah.
anti-infantry stuff. So all of a sudden, your decision of like
which
weapons and things
a lot of good
is
stuff.
efficient. You might not necessarily lean plasma to kill power armor. You might
fire drink, no
I do want some heavy flamers, that sort of thing to. So it
Ghost of Starman. Hopefully we see the Kara Knight Ogrins
so
at some point for Solar.
Exciting times, very exciting times. Well, that's all we've got time for, folks. Speaking of which,
that's all we got time for.
Hope you enjoyed getting a bit of a peek at all of those fantastic releases. As always, a huge, great big thank you to Notley for moderating for us. Huge, great big thank you to our producer Raf for getting up at the crack of dawn with us and pushing the buttons, making it all happen. And a thank you to you, Eddie, for taking us through all those awesome releases. As always, you can catch up on all the releases that you've seen this morning, today, tonight, wherever you might be, on the Warhammer community website. And we will see you on the next one. Take care.
Bye. Well, that was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. That was kind of cool. Oh, let me turn this down. Just refresh that.
With clean ads.
Shut up. Fucking ads. Fucking ads. Fucking ads. Well, that was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. It was cool. That was cool. I liked it. New mandrakes. New night lords. Or not. Yeah, night lords. New, not the high elves. What are they? Lumineth. New ghosts. There was lots of stuff. There was a lot of stuff. Ghost of Starman. Surprised there was no old world, but I think they might have been saving that for Saturday. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea. Fire Drake. A lot of nice looking models. Won't be buying. A lot of nice models you won't be buying, yeah. Average Paramedic. Thanks for the live stream. Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Fire Drake, how many boxes are you getting? Oh, I have no idea. They don't tell. Ghost of Starman, too much stuff I want to pick up as usual. Oh yeah, of course. I know. It is a terrible monkey to have on your back. I know. Of all the monkeys to have on your back, this one is probably the worst. Probably the worst to have on your back. Okay, so the stream done? Stream's done. Oh, shit. What the hell? Piss off. Everything's going sideways here. All right, well, I don't need to have this stream up no more. So, yeah, we're done. Kill that. Here we go. All right, we're done. So, it wasn't too bad. I mean, you know, a little bit for everybody, I suppose, other than Old World, but, you know, they just got a whole bunch. It just came out. Like, do we really need, you know, more of that right now? Like, not really. Fire Drake. It's a good monkey that likes menthosis. What? What the hell does that mean? What? Ghost of Starman. Possibly a literal monkey could be worse. Yeah, possibly. I mean, literal monkey would be the worst, I suppose. Holy man. 70010110111. I wanted to see dwarves and orcs and goblins just so we had confirmation that GW was going to be maintaining momentum with the old world. I mean, yeah, that one's hard to say. It's hard to say. But who knows? I mean, like, you know, like they've already released like all the old armies, right? Because anything that was old world but was changed is now part of Age of Sigmar, and they're not going to do that, you know. It would be nice though, but I mean, I guess thematically, I guess the miniatures wouldn't fit anymore. You know what I mean? Like look at a lot of the Daughters of Khaine and, you know, shit like that. You know, I don't know. I can't really think anymore. It's time for bed. It's late. It's time for bed. I'm done. It wasn't bad. I don't know. Like, what'd you guys think? Like, did it just completely eat shit, or like was it really good? It was the tits. It was the tits, as the kids say. Oh fuck! I'm tired, and yeah, I'm mostly high, so. But it's not like I was spacing out, though. I didn't space out or anything, so, you know, yay me, really. That's a positive thing, I think. That's Jacob. Nothing for Skaven? No, bud? No, sorry, there was no Skaven. Ghost of Starman. See you later. Have a good night. Yeah. Jacob, what the fuck? Yeah. Anyway, okay, I'm getting the hell out of here. Getting a fan of Chris's bake? Yeah, a little bit. Been baked for a while. Before even the stream started. Whoa. 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 Might have been something in that hippie.